for the final time, it's Sting! Wait, I'm getting some cues. Hold on. Good job, Tony Khan. You couldn't even hit your time cue on a pay-per-view. Wonderful! I'm John Rentham with my review of AEW Revolution 2024, Sting's final match, and other thoughts. Let's get into it. Let me know your thoughts on the show in the comments, please. But yeah, they couldn't even hit the time cue on a goddamn pay-per-view. Maybe don't let so many matches go way longer than they need to. There were only 11 matches on this show, 9 on the main card. And the main card still went 4 goddamn hours. That being said, 16,000 plus in the Greensboro Memorial Coliseum, the venue where Sting had some of his greatest triumphs. Clash of the Champions 1. Fuck it, beat your chest. Ow! And Sting, truly one of the greatest icons in professional wrestling, at least of the last 30 or so years. Yeah, he did have a break there for about 5 or so because of, the buckle bomb that ended up pretty much, bringing a halt to his in-ring career, even though at that point he was struggling. But he got to go out on his own terms. But oh boy, there are thoughts to be said. So, the 0 Hour, Renee and RJ City host. Shivani talks to Davey Crockett, King of the Wild Crockett Frontier, Davey Crockett, and I have whip him like a dog. I would have liked David Crockett to actually call that last match. I would have liked to have heard what he had to say because he certainly could have been more checked out than JR. Anyway, Renee's Randy Savage and Sting mashup jacket. And I know it was supposed to be a tribute to Sting, but it reminded me of Randy Savage as well. So, Caster messed up his rap again. This has to be a work at this point. I believe he did lose his dad recently in the last couple months. And I know that that's got to be tough. Losing a parent, a loved one, somebody you are close to, blood or otherwise, is very tough. So I do feel for Max Caster there. But this is a work at this point. So, the Gangbang Scissor Gang of the Acclaimed and the Jay White Guns probably could have, thought of a different way to say that, but let's just roll on. Took on Team TNA, Jarrett Lethal, Willie Mack, Private Party, and Giant Silva Jr., a.k.a. Giant Gonzalez, could move better now, and he has been dead since like 2009 or 2010. Look, it's Sing, I'm sure is a nice guy. They can't get anything out of him, and he is not going to be able to do shit. Everybody getting in here is a 12-man tag. The fact that Jeff Jarrett is probably the best worker out of anybody in this match is sad. And that's no disrespect to anybody else. Karen Jarrett should not be anywhere near a wrestling promotion. She was terrible in TNA. She serves no benefit. Now, the fact that she is getting payoffs, despite the fact there are talented women killing themselves on the indies or in smaller companies, that maybe have a bit of distribution, and they can't get a decent payoff, is pretty fucking ridiculous. You couldn't put Thunder Rosa and others on this card, but you could put Karen fucking Jarrett on there. You couldn't even put Ruby Soho, almost said Ruby Riott. You couldn't put some of the women on there, but you could put Karen fucking Jarrett on here. Willie Mack got pinned by Jay White. That certainly happened. Sting couldn't even sell a goddamn chop block right. I know he looks impressive if he stands there. It kinda. Not really. So, yeah, the Gangbang Scissor Gang won. And then Jay runs down the card. He will handle big business on the 13th. Kazuchika Okada apparently is supposed to be coming in to AEW, likely as soon as this Wednesday. So maybe that'll happen. Maybe he'll attack Samoa Joe. Maybe he'll burst up from the ground and drag somebody down with him. I don't know. Medical update on Orange Cassidy. Well, he's beat up, and he tells his friends stay backstage. It looks like Trent's going to actually, be somebody to turn heel on him because, well, look at Trent's legs. He's kind of a crackpot, so I wouldn't be surprised if he wanted to just have no friends. So anyway, Pac is back. All right. He's back to drag this company to new heights. Now, I know the Pac was in whatever part of the UK he comes from during the pandemic, and I know that he has had injuries, and I get that. He has spent more outside of the pandemic, he has spent more time off of television than he has spent on television. He is talented, but Does anybody buy into this? He looks great. He can do impressive shit. But watch him be there until maybe Double or Nothing, and then he's gone again. Maybe he'll be there for All In. That'd be kind of cool. So anyway, Shivani is with Davey Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier, and he calls Nick and Matt, that's what their names are, by the way, the Young Blucks. They are now the Slurm Blucks. Why? I don't care. Statlander and Willow took on Julia and Sky. There was great camera work during this. They worked hard, and then things fell apart. This went way too long. And I'm all for the women getting some time, but they lost it. They couldn't get it back, and it was just getting messy. Stokely also was on commentary. Did they get him a booster seat so he could see over the top of the commentary table? This burgeoning women's division was, I believe, something that Nigel said. The company is almost 5 years old, and the women's division, not because of the talent, but because of the booking, has gone backwards. I don't think there's any way to get the people to care about the women's division unless you actually put, concerted effort into building them properly. And then we got the pounce where Sky almost hit the ropes. That could have ended badly, and the Dr. Bomb 1, 2, 3. Okay. I mean, Sky Blue took the pin, so it is what it is. And then Julia was so upset she was brutally fisting a hard surface. I know many dirty blondes that have done that. She was hitting the floor. I run a clean show, so let's move on. We have all been there before when we've gotten frustrated, just fisting a hard surface, just hoping to break on through to the other side. JR will be on the show tonight. I'm glad that JR is healthy, seemingly, but more on that later. Package on Sting with New Japan footage. That was very cool. I might do a timeline retrospective from fans' point of view of his career, maybe some of my favorite matches. I haven't figured out what. It would probably need to be at least a 3-part series, because Sting has meant a lot to professional wrestling, a lot to me personally. Had it not been for him and Ric Flair at the first Clash, I would have not gotten into WCW, because I was around the time that we got cable in my area, because I kind of live out in the sticks. Shivani joins commentary because it was Excalibur and Nigel. I want to say I don't mind Excalibur. I just don't think he ever needed to wear the mask on commentary. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think it would have mattered. At his best, he at least naturally can call some matches with a little bit of, exuberance, and sometimes too much exuberance. And one thing I do like about him, compared to some announcers, he does respect the pronouns of certain talents, like Abaddon. Sorry, had to say it. So, Daniel Garcia versus Christian Cage with the Patriarchy. Nick Wayne was there. Nick Wayne wasn't on this show in a wrestling capacity. Then we get it. So it's a TNT title match. Okay, so the crowd was up for this, and Daniel Garcia came out. And then Christian leapt to the floor. At first he was selling like an ankle injury, tricking Garcia, but then Garcia focused on the ankle. Christian kept trying to go by count out, bumping Garcia to the floor. And then eventually Nick tried for something and flew and nearly hit his head right into the top of a chair. Hope he's all right. Garcia was just decided to grind in the corner and do. I can't really actually do the dance at all, as you can tell. And we get a couple 2 counts. Menard joined at one point and fought off with Luchasaurus, but not before getting stared down by Shayna Wayne. I have talked to that nice woman, and let me tell you, boy howdy, she is such a nice person, and, when you get to talk to her. She's also beautiful, but she's a really nice person. Nick also, tremendous talent. I really hope that Nick gets featured on more pay-per-views. That was 3 chants we get, and then we get a jackknife, but a ropes break, and Nick with a title shot, and then Christian gets the victory. So, all right, the crowd is into it. I expected Copeland to show up, but somebody pointed out they're having a show in Toronto in a couple weeks. I guess that makes sense. I guess, are they having a collision, or are they having a Dynamite? I would hope it's a Dynamite, because if it's a collision, they're probably not going to be watched by that many people. Danielson versus Kingston. I'm going to surprise you guys, even though I've kind of soured on some of Kingston's offense, the chop stuff, and I know he does that because his mobility is limited. He also likes the Japanese, the all Japan, whatever, strong style, and I respect that. He respects Japanese wrestling. He did some good stuff here. Kicks, suplexes, Danielson with some good mat work. This for the Continental Crown Championship. This was the best of Eddie Kingston's, the best Eddie Kingston match I have seen on AEW programming or on pay-per-view in a while. And probably the best I've seen since he faced Claudio at Arthur Ashe Stadium. And chops, chops, and chops. More chops. And they did some good stuff here. There was an arm lock, there was arm focus. At one point there was an attempt to chop and he hit the post. Good stuff there. So Eddie Kingston couldn't use the spinning back fist that he usually does, the Hadouken or whatever the hell it's called, or Hurricane, I think. So we get a break so that we get a triangle. Eddie gets the ropes. We then get some no-selling on suplexes, which I could do without, because if you get no-selling on every single show, TV or pay-per-view, then it doesn't register. And this goes for Japan, this goes for AEW, this goes for WWE. I don't mind if you use it in a big match. But if you do it too often, then it just sours some people. At least it does me. So we get repeated strokes to the head. That's going to frustrate any man. Trust me, I know. And then the powerbomb 1, 2, 3. And the stipulation was that if Danielson lost, he would have to shake Eddie's hand. And he did. So there you are. That was good. Let's pick things up here, because the next few matches, oh boy, Archer, Hobbs, Hawk, Magnus, no, not Nick Aldis's previous character where he was Brutus Magnus, but some guy from CMLL that I've never heard of. I'm sure that he actually has talent. It wasn't really shown here. So we get Dante Martin and Brian Cage, Mr. Wardlow, thank you Dasha, and Jericho. To the fans that were singing Judas, I hope the Tar Heels never win a championship while you are alive. And Jericho also was getting booed quite a bit, so they like singing Judas. They don't really want to see Jericho. All-Star Scramble match because Meat Madness, because Miro apparently is injured and other big beefy guys are injured or didn't want to come because that doesn't work for them, brother. All-Star Scramble. Is it going to be like WWE Scrambles at Unforgiven 2008? Is it going to be a match where anything goes and the referee doesn't enforce the rules like most matches in AEW? Yeah, it pretty much is going to be like that. Everybody just did shit. Dante landed badly. Meet Chance when the big guys faced off. Jericho is washed, nearly landed on his head trying to do a lion salt while Magnus did something. And so at one point, Jericho hurled the liquid from the fog machine into Hobbs' face. It wouldn't be the first time that he tried to do something and chloroform somebody to knock them out, allegedly. And then we get a powerbomb. 1, 2, 3. Mr. Wardlow won. Okay, that was not great. And then Roderick Strong, along with Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, against Orange Cassidy for the International Incident Championship. Bear in mind, Orange Cassidy, all taped up, said to his best friends, stay backstage. I want to do this on my own. Roddy won in about 15 minutes. Kyle O'Reilly's back. He didn't align with Roderick Strong. Maybe he won't. Maybe he will. He probably should have put more thought into that hair. Who am I to talk about somebody's hair? I'm glad that Kyle O'Reilly is back and healthy, because I forgot that he was still on the roster, because he has apparently been gone for nearly 2 years. I think it was July 2022. So, my God. Good that he's back, though. Mox and Claudio and Road Warriors spikes. You wish, Mox. You fucking wish you were like the Road Warriors. God, Hawk and Animal now are better than he is. And look, Mox, I enjoy some of his stuff. He's almost funny in how serious he takes himself. I like Claudio. Claudio doesn't mean what he used to. And they took on FTR. It's a Dynamite rematch from like 12 days ago. And I enjoyed the Dynamite rematch. Or I enjoyed the Dynamite match, that is. I enjoyed this match, but there were points where it was starting to irritate me. One, the crowd was a little flat at first. Dax got very, very cut. I hope he's all right, because that was pretty deep. It wasn't the worst cut that we got on this night. Mox is trying to trash talk. It didn't work. Dax landed on his shoulder badly on a top rope maneuver. We get a pile driver on the floor. And then we get the Death Rider. There was some good stuff here. I don't want to say this is probably my favorite matches of the year list. It wasn't the worst. Believe me, there were some things that weren't all that great on this show. But this also kind of started to wear on me. As good as some of it was, some of it kind of bothered me. And so there were double chokes, and yeah, the BCC won, and a mild show of respect, possibly. Hey, if you bleed with the BCC, you can join them, I guess. Deonna Purrazzo took on Toni Storm. Mariah May showed up dressed like rocker Toni Storm. Mariah May should keep that look. So, Tony's out there with Luther. For all he's worth, nothing. Deonna Purrazzo and Toni Storm, the friendship heard around the world. AEW Women's Championship match. And they probably could have, called in some favors from around the world. Maybe some fans that weren't asleep, because there were a few chants for Tony. Some of the fans tried to care, but it was like 90% of the crowd went to sleep. Nobody cared. It wasn't that the women didn't work hard. There was a story behind it, but again, a lot of fans have been conditioned to not care about the women's division. So, we get bullshit distractions, makes the referee look stupid. Storm 0, 1, 2, 3. So Mercedes is probably going to come in and face Tony. If not Dynasty, which is the next pay-per-view, by the way, perhaps a Double or Nothing. Takeshita and Will Ospreay had a very highly athletic match where the crowd loved Ospreay and they liked what Takeshita did. And Don Callis, well, at least he wasn't near the women's locker room, so at least they felt safe. And Callis, to me, is just as bad as JBL on commentary, and Nigel is approaching that, because Nigel can be entertaining, but the heel commentator stuff is something really only that Jesse Ventura or King, for a period, was able to master. So, we get dives, we get strikes, we get no-selling, and I don't like the no-selling. Again, I understand it in some respects. But again, if you have it, it already happened in a few matches. If it's going to continue to happen, then does it really matter? Does it? Does it honestly really matter? They did great shit. I'm not saying that this match shouldn't be appreciated, but I have some issues with it. I'll probably have to go back and watch it at some point. And I wrote it with an asterisk on my favorite matches of the year list. Because again, when I said that Omega and Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom last year was one of my favorite matches of the year, people were surprised by that. I can be fair even when it's people I don't like. To a degree. More on that later. Ospreay landed badly after a brainbuster in the corner because, for whatever reason, people decided to do fucking stupid spots. Again, more on that later. That probably wasn't even the fifth dumbest spot of the night. So, we hang it, everybody's just hulking up. Hidden Blade for one, because for some reason we just have to kick out of things like that. Styles Clash for 2. And then eventually a Hidden Blade 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Ospreay and Takeshita did stuff. They popped the crowd. The crowd was very up. A lot of people on social media liked it. I like parts of it. So I'm not going to say they didn't do some good stuff. It's good done without the sequences and the no-selling. Kyle Fletcher is there. Apparently he's a Ring of Honor TV champion. Or pure champion. I don't know. I don't actually care. Because I don't watch Ring of Honor. But him and Ospreay hug, so we have, the United Empire taking over. And I'll take them over Bullet Club because at least there's talent in the United Empire. So, Samoa Joe against Swerve Strickland, who swerves when he drives, just like Hereditary doesn't keep the sister alive. Yes, he swerves when he drives. Like Princess Di didn't swerve when she drive because she wasn't swerving when she drove in the French tunnel. I don't know what the hell I'm on about. But yeah, Hangman TA was also there. I'm going to say right now that Hangman pretty much is proving that he is the empty-headed dipshit as far as what somebody did say. There are people that like him, and I know he does a lot of good shit outside the ring, but as far as in the ring, he's self-destructing. He does the same stuff. It's over. It's over with the people it's going to be over with, and he's not going to convert any new fans as far as his in-ring work. 3-way AEW title match, and it was what it was. JR joins commentary, and JR within 5 minutes was like, JR, just stay home. Khan should pay him the length of his contract, bring him back for matches he might actually want to call. And I don't blame JR. If you don't give him something to call, he's going to be checked out. And he has his health issues. And he's been through a lot of stuff, a lot of personal stuff. Losing the love of his life a number of years ago, you can tell it still affects him. As it would anybody. He's had a lot of shit on his plate. but he can't cut it anymore. And I'd argue that they need to only have Shivani on some of the matches, and I understood why they had him on the main event. You have enough announcers. Paul White apparently is supposed to get a knee replacement or a hip replacement at some point. When he's healthy, have him do commentary. He's pretty good. Have other people do commentary. I'd say have Kevin Kelly do commentary, but Kevin Kelly kind of just exposed the fact that he might have a few brain parasites where his brain used to be. And I like Kevin Kelly's commentary, but maybe having in Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman call stuff other than Ring of Honor? Just a thought. Have them call Collision. Why not? I mean, just do something else. You have enough commentators there. I say bring back Mike Tenay, but I don't think he wants anything to do with wrestling anymore. But they got to freshen things up. They love Swerve. Joe wanted to get this over early. He did not succeed in that. They kept the pace up for a bit. JR said at one point, Shivani helped me put my socks on this morning. I was so stoned up. JR may have sounded like he was joking. I don't think he was, because, again, health issues. Hangman kept trying to... He pulled the first ref out. He hit Swerve with the title. The second ref did a 2 count. And then Hangman beats the shit out of him. This match broke down very quickly. It was more about Swerve and Hangman than it was about Joe's title reign, because they each wanted to prevent the other from winning the title, which is fine. I appreciate that story, but again, Swerve has beaten Hangman twice. Interference or not, he still won twice. And, alright, Joe chokes Hangman out, and Swerve doesn't win. Hangman loses, so at least there's that. There we are. Joe retains. April 21st, AEW Dynasty. I'm going to be honest here, guys. AEW is going to have to give more reasons for fans to tune in, because I'm not asking for money. I can spare the money for these pay-per-views. This is $50 a goddamn pop. And if they're going to do one each month from here all the way to the end, they got to get that streaming deal going. They got to get it going soon. If the streaming deal comes through, if it's on Max, used to be HBO Max, and they put, they say you pay an extra $20 along with your monthly fee and you get out the pay-per-view, I'll do that. But paying $50 a pop, after All In, it's getting tough. It's getting tough to justify it. It would be tough. It would be even tougher to justify WWE stuff. Just want to say, if it wasn't on Peacock, if it wasn't for a small fee, it'd be even tougher for that. It's tough to justify paying $20 for the New Japan shows just for the English commentary. It's getting tough to justify watching New Japan. There's good stuff in all the wrestling companies I watch. Nevertheless, Ric Flair is here. Steamboat is here. Nikita Koloff, Scotty Riggs is there. I have not seen Scotty Riggs in a while. That's good for him. Lex Luger and Magnum TA also showed up. And here the clown theme. Do, 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 do. I would apologize, but I don't want to. More there. And the Bucks make their entrance, and they're in robes and trying to act like they've ever been stars except to a minute amount of people. Credit to them. They marketed themselves well. Once they got on a nationwide, national stage, worldwide stage, did they mean anything within 6 months? No. Their fans will like them. Anybody that didn't like him before has no reason to care. Darby makes his entrance, and then the final Showtime Sting's in a theater that looked like the theater from The Last Matinee, not The Last Manatee. In case a particular friend of mine happens to be watching this, I'm sorry, you know who you are. Video package with all the memories. It's showtime for the last time. Let's do this! Ow! All right. For the final time, it's Sting! We have Sting's sons. One is Great American Bash Sting. One is Wolfpack Sting. I don't know their sons' names. His sons' names. I don't care. And then Metallica's Seek and Destroy plays them to the ring. Good. I was trying to remember the name of that song. Sting and Darby versus the Slurm Bucks. The Blucks, as it were. I'll just call them the Blucks. That just sounds better. I call them Bluckheads, but, nevertheless. tornado tag for the tag titles. Thank you, Sting chants. And they instantly start just doing everything. The Suns try to hit splashes. They're not wrestlers. They're more accomplished than the Bucks. They're still not wrestlers, but tables and chairs are brought out, and a ladder's brought out, and we get panes of glass. Gee, if only Jack Perry was there and didn't actually decide to, be an even more empty-headed dipshit. To the point he's in New Japan, stinking it up over there. Panes of glass, and at one point, Sting hits the bat, or uses the bat to hit the glass. It doesn't break, and he's like, bam! That's how you break glass, Goldberg. And then Darby gets... They fight to the stage. They go into the crowd, fight to the stage. Darby gets Falcon Arrow through 2 tables. Sting gets a suplex through 2 tables. And Sting's just got to be thinking, it's a good thing Khan's checks have cleared, and he's been paying me at least $1 million a year. I would imagine it's probably been $1.5 million a year, and I would imagine he gets a pretty good cut of his merch. And credit to him for wanting to take these bumps, but God damn it, Sting. God damn it. And then, fuck the Young Bucks chance, which is a safe bet every time. Only stupid women would want to fuck them. I just want to say that right there, and that goes for both of their wives, or maybe one of them. I don't know which one's married and which one ever has kids. God forbid those kids are screwed. So, Darby then gets on a ladder. He's going to senton onto the Bucks on a pane of glass on some chairs. And he just goes right through the goddamn thing. Darby Allin, weighing about 100, 150, 160 pounds. No shirt. And his body is instantly cut up. They cut away from him because he is bleeding like crazy. Because Darby is a fucking idiot. And I met Darby. And Darby was nice. But goddamn it. Fucking idiot. If he had bled out right there, it would have been his fault. I'm not saying I wished it, but it would have been his fault. And they completely cut away from him. Sting had to carry this whole goddamn thing. They should have sent Shivani out there because Shivani could have at least taken a couple bumps. But Ric Flair's there, Steamboat's there. I mean, so Sting goes through a table, no sells it. Goes through the glass, no sells it. Steamboat gets super kicked. Flair gets super kicked. People are like, oh, the Bucks are the biggest baby faces because they kick Ric Flair. They respect women as much as Ric Flair. They respect, gay people as much as Ric Flair. They respect other races as much as Ric Flair. So let's not act like the Bucks are any better. It's all out there, folks. Flair's just as bad of a creep, man. He's been doing it longer, but that doesn't mean the Bucks are absolved of anything. So, Sting no sells the super kicks. No sells the EVP triggers. And Darby finally gets back up. He pushes one of the Bucks through the table. I don't know which one. I wouldn't have cared if they dropped over and just, were carried out in coffins. Literally, because I just don't care if the Bucks are ever on television again. Scorpion for 2, and then a coffin drop, and a Scorpion Deathlock, and the one Buck and the Black tapped out. Okay, Sting got to celebrate. Darby's bleeding half to death. And then, thank you, Sting. Thank you, Sting. Oh, wait, I'm getting cues. Hold on, and then it fades. So I'm cutting this, and I'm sure they'll have it on their YouTube channel. They'll cut that, and great, good, cool. That was a hell of a moment. I'm glad that Sting and Darby got to go out on top. And, hey, Sting not wanting to put over 2 idiots on the way out. I don't blame him. I mean, the Bucks could have said it was their call. Well, Sting's the one that should have made the call. And quite frankly, if they just retired the AEW tag titles altogether, I think they might be better off because I don't see where else they could go. Tony Khan hold the tournament. I'm giving it until AEW Big Business to see if they motivate me to review this stuff continuously. Or I might just start sticking to the big events and the big television and the pay-per-views. There were moments on the show I really liked. There were matches I really liked. And this felt like a big deal. It's the biggest domestic crowd they're probably going to get. Because I don't know if they're going to fill up Arthur Ashe Stadium for Forbidden Door. Big deal. Big time presentation. I'm glad the Sting was able to walk out under his own power. But god damn it. But that being said, thank you, Sting. What are your favorite Sting moments? Was it this last match? Darby is a fucking idiot again. The Bucks are even bigger idiots. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritland. Thank you, Stang. Ow! See you soon.